Hello and assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to Shah's Maths. So as part of your revision for May-June 2025, as you all know, we are revising the key concepts of all different topics. Last time we covered reflection, all the key concepts of reflection. Now today we'll be covering the key concepts of rotation. Now for rotation, we do know there were two key concepts. The first one was whenever the object and image is given, and we have to find the point of rotation, right? What do we do in such scenario? So this is what I've just stated. The concept number one was object and image is given and we have to find the point of rotation. Now, what was the concept? How do we approach such problem? Point of rotation is equidistant from all the corresponding points, right? That means we will draw a perpendicular bisector of all corresponding points, and the point of rotation would be the point of intersection of all those perpendicular bisectors. All right. Now, this is slightly lengthier method. If that's a paper 2 question, if you're an IGCSE student or if you're a GCE O-level student, that means if it's a paper 1 question, I would recommend that you adapt a shortcut method. Now, what's that shortcut method? It's using the same concept. We'll use the same concept, right? But we won't actually draw all the perpendicular bisectors of all the corresponding points. Rather, we'll just do it in a slightly quicker method. Let's have a look. Let's implement this concept onto this example, and we'll get to know how we're gonna do those things quickly. All right. So in this question again, we can see question says describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle T onto triangle A. So this is triangle T, which is mapped onto triangle A. We have to describe fully transformation, right? Now, I can clearly see T is mapped onto A. The area looks the same, exactly the same. That means either it's reflection or rotation. And why I'm so convinced that it is rotation, reason is if I rotate, so that was T initially, right? And if I rotate this figure 90-degree clockwise, it's gonna become exactly the same as A. We can see that, right? So it is rotation, definitely. I'm just gonna mention in my answer, rotation. So whenever you have to describe the transformation fully and you have determined its rotation, you have to mention the angle, which is 90-degree in this scenario. Either it can be 90-degree, 180 degrees, either of these, right? So 90-degree, and the orientation was I rotated it. I'm mapping T onto A. So have a look. I have to move in clockwise direction. But if you leave your answer till this point, you're gonna be ending up getting either a single mark, or if the examiner is lenient, maybe maximum 2 marks, right? But you won't be getting 3 marks for this thing. Reason being is you haven't mentioned the point of rotation. So how would we find out the point of rotation? Let's have a look. Now, as I've said before, what we're gonna do is we'll mark any 2 corresponding points. Okay. So at the moment, for this figure, I'm just going to be using these 2 points. Let's mark them. This point and this point, they are corresponding, right? So if I join them via straight line, and the perpendicular bisector is such thing that intersects or exactly at the midpoint, that means it halves them, and then it should make the angle of 90-degree with the line joining those 2 points. It is perpendicular to that, right? So that means for these 2 points, it's gonna be somewhat like this. Okay, that means either my point of rotation is this point, this point, this point, or this point. Remember, mostly if it's a paper 2 question, point of rotation will mostly be a point carrying exact coordinates. That means examiner won't give you any point of rotation with the coordinates of 5.2, 4.2, or that contains the decimal. All right. So it's going to be either of these 4 points. What are we going to do is we will quickly check which point is it amongst these points. Now, how to check that? You will always join the point of rotation with the corresponding point via straight line and then rotate that line. And then we will see if that line ends up in the exact image or not. Okay, let's have a look. So first I'm going to be checking this point. that was my corresponding point. I'll join these by a straight line. If I rotate this line about this point 90-degree clockwise, it's gonna end up somewhere here, right? Which is definitely not the case. The image is over here. It has to end up here, right? Let's take this point. Now for this point, I'll join them by a straight line again. I've joined point of rotation with the corresponding point that I've taken. Now if I rotate this line about point of rotation 90-degree clockwise, it's gonna end up somewhere here, right? Which is again wrong. I need it to be here. Third one was this one. So let's join them by a straight line. So if I rotate it 90-degree clockwise, so from here it's gonna come along this orientation, which would end up here. But again, I need the point to be here, this one, right? So that's not true as well. Last one is this point, which definitely would be my point of rotation. Let's have a look how. So I'll join it via a straight line with the corresponding point. And if I rotate this line 90-degree clockwise, have a look, it's 2 units. So it will go in this direction because it's clockwise. And then it's 2 units. So 2 units on this side, it's gonna end up here. And it's 90-degree. We moved into clockwise direction. Exactly, it is mapped onto this point. That means the point of rotation is this one. So the coordinates of point of rotation are 4 and 3. Okay, so remember, quick recap of this concept. Whenever image and object is given, you have to describe the transformation fully. You have determined if it's a rotation. It's easier to determine the angle of rotation, the orientation of rotation. It's not difficult either, right? Most of the times you guys have difficulty in finding out the point of rotation, and I've observed this multiple times. You guys oftenly lose marks in it. What would you do? Just pick up any pair of corresponding points, right? Try that pair is it shouldn't be your selection of corresponding points pair is very important here. So yeah, make sure you pick up the pair that it's easiest to determine. Okay, so at the moment, what I've done, again, we have selected a pair of corresponding points, and then we have drawn a perpendicular bisector of that one quickly because we did not require a compass in this scenario. We can easily draw a perpendicular bisector in this scenario, in such case, via hand as well. And then there were 4 to 5 points that could have been our point of rotation. Quickly, we have checked each and every point. How have we checked? We connect the point of rotation with the corresponding point via straight line, and then try to rotate that line and see if it ends up on mapping onto the image or not. That's a simple technique, although it has taken me a while to explain this concept. But when you will actually implement this on exam, on a piece of paper in questions, it's not gonna take you hardly more than 30-40 seconds or even a minute, right? It's definitely quicker than using a compass and drawing perpendicular bisectors for all the corresponding points and finding out the point of intersection. That method is accurate as well, but it's gonna take you longer. It's gonna definitely take you at least 3, 4, 5 minutes on that one. Whereas if you practice this one enough, you will definitely be quicker. You'll save a lot of your time. Okay, so that was concept number 1. For concept number 2,